Hello friends, this is Amanda with the Pro Bookkeepers Network. In this video, I will show you how to set up QuickBooks Online Payroll. This is the second video in this series. In the first video, I went over how to choose the QuickBooks Online Payroll that is suitable for you. The link to the first video is below. And remember, as always, stay tuned to the end of this video where I will share with you how you can get a discount link that provides a better discount than buying directly from Intuit. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and you'll be logged into your QuickBooks Online Payroll. If you are not Online Payroll, QuickBooks Online. If you haven't already purchased QuickBooks Online, I can also get you a discount for that. And then also you do have an option to have a standalone payroll. But let's go ahead and access the payroll. So you come down here and you'll see where it says payroll, and you'll want to click on overview. Alright, so with the Payroll Elite, if that's the option you go with, because remember there's the core, the premium, and the elite. If you choose the elite, you can get someone to set that up for you. You just click on request a call. But for our sake, let's go ahead and click on start onboarding. Okay, it says were employees paid in 2025? So then you want to know, or like, why does this matter? It says, please provide your past payroll information for accurate year-end filings. We want to make sure the W-2s you provide for each employee are accurate. So let's go ahead and start with no. All right, and then hit next. It says, when is your first payday with QuickBooks? So it's wanting to know, when are you going to run your first payday? Your first payday with QuickBooks sets the tax period for payroll calculations. If your first payday is in the next quarter, we will start managing your payroll taxes from that quarter onwards. Just remember, quarters go, every 3 months, so January through March would be one quarter. All right, so let's just, go ahead and pick a date. And then next. All right. And then you'll want to type in your primary work location. And why does that matter? Because that's going to have to do with state and local taxes. And then also you will have an option with, when you further set up, you can choose, like for instance, you have employees who work in other employees who work from home, you will set their location based on that. All right, so let's go ahead and hit next. All right, who is your payroll contact? You'll just type in whoever your payroll contact is. All right, so it's going to force me to put something. I'm just going to go ahead and put that. All right, so the nice thing about QuickBooks Online Payroll is it kind of helps you walk you through the process, and then also there are some setup resources. You can view a setup guide and then watch some videos and other resources. And like I said, with the Payroll Elite, if that's the option you do choose, you can set an appointment with QuickBooks Online and they will assist you. All right, so this one's going to say, tell us a little bit more about your team. All right, tell us how you would like to add your team. So this is like, for instance, if you had already added your team and you've already ran payroll with another payroll provider, for instance, ADP, Gusto, or Paychex, or you can also import your information from a spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add Team manually. All right, so it says, tell us about your team. You're going to add your employee. So this is where you would type in their name and information. All right. And then also, if you get stuck, you can check out self-onboarding with QuickBooks Online Workforce. So if you want to keep track of time, you can type it in there. So I'm just going to make somebody up. Obviously, so let's go here. And obviously you're not going to want to make anybody up. All right. And then you want to put in the email. And why is it important to have that email? Because they're going, later on, it will show you how to send them an invite to where they can set up part of their own information. And then also to where they will have access that they can go in and access their pay stubs weekly or, every time they get paid, and then also be able to access their W-2 at year end. So let's just go ahead and I'll type in something here. All right, and hire date. Let's just put it today. And so obviously you have an option. You can let your employees self-serve. You can say employee self-onboard, or I will enter the information myself. I'm going to go ahead and hit I will enter the information myself. But typically you would probably want to go ahead and let your employee do the self-onboard. That way you make sure you get their checking, if you're going to do direct deposits, you get their checking account information entered in correctly. You also, any deductions they want, filling out their W-9s, that they would be able to do it themselves. But for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and hit I will enter their information myself. And like I said, there's this video here, check self-onboarding with QuickBooks Online Workforce. Workforce is where they will access their W-2s, their pay stubs, and also self-onboard. But let's go ahead and then also with the Workforce, you can let them keep track of their time on their phone or other mobile devices, or they can also clock in, clock out with their computer. All right, so let's go ahead and hit Add Employee. All right, I'll pause this for a second. I'm going to go grab my phone. Okay, so the nice thing about Intuit is they will text you to verify that it's you, which is especially nice with payroll because that is very sensitive information. Okay. All right. So then here you're going to just be filling out information on Jody. Like I said, what I would typically do is invite them to Workforce, but if they're coming over from, had a previous payroll provider, you can go ahead and set it up for them. Well, I don't think 1912 would work. That would be one really old worker. All right. As you can see, it just keeps wanting to try to enter my saved information there, but that's okay. Like I said, this one is made up. I obviously would not type somebody's actual social security number. All right, so then the next step is going to be your employment details. All right, and then you can choose your pay schedule, but I haven't added one yet. So let's say that they get paid, your options are every week, every other week, twice a month, every month. I'm going to go with, you want to make sure you get your next payday in there correctly. You want to make sure you enter the end of their pay period, and then how often they get paid. You can use it, you can set up either to choose this pay schedule for employees you add after this time, but I know that some people, they will have like their hourly employees on one payroll and their salaried on another payroll. So then you'll have an opportunity to add a different pay period. So I'm just going to unmark that for now. All right, this would be like, for instance, you'd want to set up your manager first, and then you can select managers if you want to, and then also you can add departments. Click here and add a department. We'll just call it admin. job title, and we'll just put office manager. If you have employee IDs, you can type them in there. Then you'll want your hourly rate of pay. And then here you have your workers' comp class. Sorry about that, my picture was kind of getting in my way. So need workers' comp insurance. That's when, because workers' comp, obviously, there are different rates for different departments. It's going to be higher for someone who works out, say if you're doing construction. So higher workers' comp rate is going to be different for someone who's actually out in the field as compared to somebody in the office. All right, so let's go ahead and hit save here. All right, the next step would be like your tax withholdings. So that's always a kind of what I would do is I would invite them to Workforce and let them fill it out themselves. But if you're coming over from a previous payroll provider, you might already have this information readily available. So you'll want, like I said, you'll want to give your employees a W-4 form to fill out for you if you're going to fill this out for them. Otherwise, like I said, I'd invite them to Workforce, but for the sake of this video, we didn't do that. So then, obviously you want to pick different filing statuses. All right, so this one's going to force me. And then local taxes. All right, if the employee is exempt from any taxes like FUTA, which is your unemployment taxes, and then Social Security and Medicare, which most people refer to as FICA. Let's go ahead and hit save, filing status, regular, save. Like I said, this is why I would allow the employee to fill it out themselves. Payment method, you can choose to pay with paper check or direct deposit. If you do direct deposit, then it's going to ask for their checking account information, their routing number, their checking account number. So like I said, that's why whenever I onboard employees, I give them the option. I usually have them onboard themselves. That way I make sure I don't mess anything up. All right, so pay types. This is where you can do overtime if you pay them overtime, if you pay them hourly, which I said we were going to pay her hourly. You can set their days and work hours. So if you've got to set work Monday through Friday, you can set the days and how many hours they can work. Rates, you can add those in. You'll want to say when the first day of the work week is. So obviously if the work week is Monday through Friday, they work Saturday, Sunday, you can get overtime, double overtime, holiday pay. You can add additional pay types, cash tips. There you can see these different ones. And then you'll want to set those up. Go ahead and hit save. And as always, if you guys want additional help setting up your payroll, you can always check out the link below this video and I can assist you with it. Or like I said, if you do use the Elite Payroll, you do have the option to have somebody on staff at QuickBooks Online to help you with it. On this one, you can do time off policies, sick policies if you have any, on-time paid off policies. But for our sake, I'm just going to hit save and move on. Deductions and contributions. This includes paycheck deductions and company contributions for healthcare, retirement, and garnishments too. So then you'd want to click here. For instance, if you already have something set up, the garnishment here would be like, for instance, if your employee had a bankruptcy garnishment that you would receive from the court, or child support, any other things. But we're going to just go ahead and say that she doesn't have any deductions, contributions, or garnishments. For the deductions and contributions, that would be like, for instance, if you did offer health insurance and your employee paid a portion of it, you would add that here. All right, and then emergency contact, they can type in, who you would contact in an emergency, which is kind of nice to have that all in one spot. Heaven forbid your employee gets hurt or sick, you can, have somebody in this side your payroll, the old easy access that you can access to do that. All right, check it out. All right, her home address is changed. You might need to update your employee's tax withholding information. So if you get that warning, then you would update that, obviously. And that's why I said I would kind of invite the employees to Workforce to allow them to fill it out themselves. All right, so it's updating. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit done because I don't have anybody. You're ready to pay your team today. We have enough information for you to pay your team if you're running low on time. If not, let's continue the setup so you can take advantage of automatic tax payments. All right, let's go ahead and hit continue setup. Like I said, this is just for, sake of showing you how to set it up. You'll want to connect your bank, which I'm not going to do. This way, you can use same day direct deposit to pay your team and file your taxes electronically. And then here, you're going to enter your information for your tax information, connect your bank account, set up your tax preferences, and then set up time tracking. This one is really awesome, and I love how they have got this integrated with QuickBooks. So tell us how you like to track your time. You can just click here, but I don't want to remove all time tasks because I think it's really nice to be able to have your employees keep track of their time. So control how your team tracks their times. Employees on the go get accurate timesheets from any device. And like I said, they can clock in, clock out from their phones. You can get, they have the QuickBooks Workforce app. You can also get a kiosk. So example, just say you're a factory and you have employees on staff, you can get a kiosk to have on your facility to where they can clock in, clock out, and get the QuickBooks Online Workforce app. You can approve their time, schedule it, run it. All right, so let's click on Let's Go. So you want to be able to, you can customize their timesheets. So for instance, if you do keep track, if they're like out in the field and they're working on a job and you want to be able to keep track of how long were they with that customer, how it's billable, the service items. So this is something that we can go into further in another video. All right, like I said, you can do it. So you can customize how you want your team to be able to track their time. You can say, all right, well, I only want them to be able to track it on their mobile device, or you can also add it to where they can clock in on their computer, tablet, or if you did have a QuickBooks time kiosk. I would go ahead and check that simply because sometimes their phone's dead. There'd be reasons why they don't have access to their phone, and you'd want to give them the option to clock in on a computer or a tablet. Or like I said, if you do have that QuickBooks time kiosk, which it does cost additional to get that kiosk, you would want to give them that option also. All right, so here we can go select team members who will track time on QuickBooks Online Workforce app or the web, and we'll invite them via email or text. So I'm going to go ahead and invite. All right. What would you like to do next? Okay, you can set up lunches and breaks. You can select managers who can approve the time. Turn on geofencing for greater accuracy. This is where you'll actually see where they're working. So like I said, if you do have employees that work on location, at someone's house, for instance, if you do construction, you'll be able to see where they are when they get their stuff, kind of, oversee things, keep an eye on it. That way you can keep track of your billable hours. All right, so you can assign certain team members to certain customers, add any custom fields, but I'm just going to I want to skip this for now. All right, this is where you can pick any, finish setting up your kiosk if you did get that kiosk. Pick up advanced features you need, create custom time and experience. All right, and then let's go down here where it says take care of your team. You can add your workers' comp policy, 401k plans, check out employee health plans. All right, so let's go here to the employees tab. This is where you can run payroll. You can also add additional employees. And then right here is this option to invite them to Workforce. Workforce is where they, like I said, they can go in and put in their own information, their own address, their direct deposit information. Just kind of makes it, streamlines the process for you, and also make sure there aren't any mistakes. And then you can, from here, you can add employee, you can run a payroll, And then also there's an option for bonus only. So for instance, you've already ran the payroll, but you're giving a bonus. You can click bonus only and run a bonus only one. Nice thing too about QuickBooks Online Payroll is you can also pay your contractors. You can add your contractors here, and they will also receive an invite to where they can type in their information of how they want to get paid, their direct deposit, and then make sure that they fill out their W-9s properly. That way when it comes to year end, you can send them their Okay, so next up is payroll tax. You will come here. Obviously, I'm not finished setup, but you'll see here, you can see where you can turn on automated taxes and forms. Currently it's off, but you can turn it on. You can see some other features. So come here to filings and you'll see any filings that have been paid. Right here on the workers' comp, this is where you can go and get a quote from Next Insurance. And the nice thing about getting your workers' comp directly through this portal is typically whenever you get workers' comp, you kind of get a quote based on payroll estimates, and then then they'll go back and audit you, and then if you owe any additional money, you'll owe it at that time. The nice thing about getting it this way is it is calculated as you go, which pay as you go, which helps improve your cash flow for your business. All right, so then great way of retaining and keeping employees is by offering benefits. So you can discover and manage employee benefits here. You can get quotes, also get quotes for 401k through their third-party vendors. You need a little more HR advice. You can, with the Payroll Elite, you get mineral, so you can type questions. You can also get assistance on writing hiring and onboarding policies, setting up policies, making sure that you're following the laws. There's all kinds of good information here. And then also you have your compliance tab. So obviously right now it says year-end checklist for 2024. 2024 is technically over. So towards the end of this year, it's going to update to say 25. This just kind of helps you stay compliant, learn how to do things. Multi-state payroll, remote employees, just trying to keep you compliant. All right. Well, you're at the end of this video. So if you want some more personalized advice or you want to work directly with me, my contact information is below this video along with the promised discount link. And remember, if you haven't already watched the previous video where I kind of walk you through the different payroll options, you'll want to check that out. Then also below this video, you're going to find that much promised discount link. And as always, make sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for your time today.